I wish you a nice day. Please sit back and enjoy the content of today's video. In the previous 2 videos, we mentioned the first 15 factors and variables that are affecting our life, health, and happiness. Today, we will talk about the 8, and in the next videos, we will talk about another 14 factors and variables. Please, don't take anything in this video personally, it intends only to help. Let's start with today's first factor. Social status, finances, useful and helpful contacts. We are all obliged to create a better future for ourselves, our family, our friends, and acquaintances, our community, the state, the Mother Earth. To the best of my knowledge, the future will be very decentralized. We will live in the many interconnected, self-sufficient and independent communities, but those communities can interact with each other in terms of trade, politics, etc. So, it will be after the rough globalization process will be finished. But also to that time, the same as our ancestors did, we have to feel, think, pray, plan and work to the best of our abilities in the best possible way for everyone. It is not a good place on the low levels of the social hierarchy. Without finances, living low life in not so good living conditions, without any influential contacts and good role models around. Levels of stress and inflammation processes in our bodies are usually higher if we are people at the low levels of the social hierarchy. So all of us must work for better tomorrows for ourselves and all people around us on this earth, to plan and to carry out plans. Find energy and solutions as our ancestors found. The good news is that in today's world, a change of social status can be achieved throughout not one generation, but only a few to several years. So many poor people with low social status can become sufficiently rich and grow above poverty. This is possible through proper planning, goal setting, and achievement. But it must be a purposeful and persistent effort. To condition our lives and do only what we have. Not to play with life hazardously without any action to change, to only enjoy life, to procrastinate, etc. But to work intelligently and if is necessary, very hard. Psychological and emotional self-understanding. All of us are unique. Many of us understand ourselves, but many of us do not. Are we so complicated, but underdeveloped personality-wise, or are we not focused enough on this kind of self-analysis so far? There is a lot of psychological literature, online tests, questionnaires, MBTI typology, among many other more or less classical tools. Especially analytical minds are predisposed for very good self-analysis, if they specialize in that. But we will probably talk about these topics much deeper in the next videos. Healthy developed personality. Not all of us have an innate personality type, upbringing, behavior, and environment that desires the healthy development of the ID, particular parts of the ego, and the superego. There is a lot of psychological definitions, but ID I refer to as passion, impulses, wishes, desires, spontaneity, and satisfaction of various pleasures. Ego, it is self-awareness, awareness of one's identity, distinguishing oneself from one's environment. It is guided by the principles of conscience, duty, and social guarantees. The result of the ego's activity is our behavior. Its opposite is previously defined spontaneous ID. Superego, it is guided by the principle of perfection. It wants to be perfect from the point of view of society and it works consciously and unconsciously. It arises from the influence of education or the environment that affects us and tries to civilize us by the standards of the society in which we grow up. It is our experienced inner morality or conscience. All of the parts of the personality can be to some extent managed, but deep self-understanding and self-management skills are needed. I have to mention also cognitive and affective empathy here. They are needed for healthy life also, but we must strive to learn and preserve those gems in life. Mostly affective empathy is disappearing in today's world and it is a catastrophe. But we will talk about it in a separate video in the future. Positive psychology and resilience. As far as life is not concerned, it is nothing. In all the history of humankind, a great psychological perspective was and is and will be needed. To see things from a positive perspective. Humor and stoicism are great tools used that can lighten everything. After the many adequate life struggles and battles, we usually become more resilient. Mainly if we have purposefully created and maintained a positive outlook on life. Until we die, we must still try. Fall 7 times, stand up 8. We can see this deep-rooted part of human nature. Always try to live and prosper, don't matter what you went through. Addictions, some have not so known reasons. Some are an escape from the reality of difficult days, or many cultural customs or constructs. Some are direct or indirect results of unhealthy compensations of stress, boredom, or the inability to spend time otherwise. Many of us need to escape into a psychologically destructive virtual reality, or into fun, pleasures, peak, or interesting life experiences. Nightlife, drugs, medicines, alcohol, marijuana, cigarettes, casual sex, always looking to computers, mobile phones, playing games, scrolling social networks, watching movies, pornography, scrolling anywhere to all the corners of the internet, etc. Some of the mentioned examples have direct and indirect negative health effects on our bodies and minds. In another of the mentioned examples, it's like, with fire, it is a good servant, but a very bad master. We will talk about those topics in detail in future videos. Unhealthy behavior. Many people are deliberately punishing themselves with various kinds of unhealthy behavior. Whether they admit it or not, or they know it or not. Many of us know that we don't do in life what we should. What we would advise making to our best friends if they had our situation and the circumstances of life. In my life experiences I found out, and also scientific and religious literature is pointing this out, that some kind of punishing ourselves for not doing what we should do is why most of us do that. I know that I should live to the best of my ability and potential, but I am lazy, or I am doing something simpler, or I am living nightlife, using drugs, playing games, drinking alcohol, etc. I know that I should change my very stressful work, to be here for my family, but I don't do what I should do in the ideal case. I am weak, immature in something, or lazy, or I like procrastinating or do not like any new things and changes. I don't care, I will enjoy myself and compensate with the right amount of whiskey and psychopharmaceuticals. Each night, it helps me to forget, to release stress, and it is very good now. I feel perfect in this state. Why I should change anything? This process can be very treacherous. Postponing or not solving problems is one of the worst things people do in life. Many even know clearly what they should change, what they should and shouldn't do. But they don't do it. They somehow prefer not to help themselves or are punished for their failure to act, or wrongdoing in life. They do not self-realize in life properly, and they know it in the corner of their soul. I please you, change all that you need in your life ASAP. You will thank yourself later. It is still time, you have all you need to do that, and you will surely do it and resolve it. Ask for help if you need it, and do your absolute best to resolve all that you need. Personality type and specifics of the individual. Many of us are as stubborn as mules from our childbirth. Many are adaptable and smooth as butter all the life. Both camps have some different risks. But we can still self-manage ourselves and manage our personality traits, patterns of perception, reactions, and behavior. All of us can do it to some degree. For some of us, the same task, or the situation, is on the verge of tolerability. Another person has fun and laughs about the same thing. We are all human beings, but we are very diverse, with strengths and also weaknesses that we need to work on. Each of us is resilient or vulnerable in some other life situations. For some of us, the breakup can be an extremely difficult, really painful life experience. For others, they just nod that it didn't work out and they go on for another relationship tomorrow. Because of those differences, we have sometimes problems understanding each other. Thanks to cognitive empathy, affective empathy, and sympathy, many of us can overlap these differences and understand and accept each other. Be the best version of yourself and always try to understand each other and try to see the world and situations also from the other person's point of view. Hear and see with the full understanding, but don't respect fake and manipulative people. They like to milk people empathy and sympathy, but many of them are not so good people but wolves in the sheepskin. Use your logic plus both empathies, watch for patterns of the behavior and see far beyond that. It can save your time and life. Self-management. In our lifetime, we should understand that we should become our hardest taskmasters, trainers, demanding teachers, and counselors in each part of our life and lifestyle. The most influential person in your life should be you. Yes, we can have inspirational or motivational role models in our life. Also, the closest people around us that can help us in many aspects of life, but we should do not forget our own role in our life. A person which is aware of it and is correctly self-managed can be the extreme life success in the parts of the life of goals that he set. We have as many positive and negative examples in our surroundings, or we know so many stories about this issue. Become the best influencer in your life. In this video, we briefly mentioned some of the many factors and variables that are affecting our lives, health, and happiness. I will try to do my best in the next videos with other factors and variables and then with solutions. There are so many important topics that all people should know more about so that they can optimize and better manage their life. If you find our video helpful or interesting, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. I will be very glad and motivated by your support for the next videos. Thank you so much for your time and attention. Have a nice and successful day.